Greetings from Los Angeles. My name is Jasmine Jaisinghani, and I'm the co-founder of Global Cinematheque. I'm so thrilled to welcome in conversation the filmmakers of The Criminals, Dead Helen, and Censor of Dreams, all of which have been shortlisted in the live action film category for the 94th Academy Awards. 145 films qualified in this category, 15 films made it to the shortlist, and we're so thrilled to have these three films and filmmakers representing France. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hello. Morning.
Hello.
Hello, morning.
Good morning from Los Angeles. So wonderful to have you all with us. Do you all mind just introing yourselves and saying your name and the title of your film and where you're joining us from?
Hello, everyone. My name is Serhat Karaaslan. I'm the director of The Criminals. I'm from Turkey, but right now I'm in Paris.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. I'm Laure Dahout. I'm the producer of The Criminals, and I'm joining you from Paris at the moment.
Hi, I'm Michiel Blanchart, the director of Dead Helen, and I'm now joining you from Brussels, where it's not morning, by the way, it's evening.
Hello, it's Raphael. I'm call you from Paris. I'm co-director of the Censor of Dreams with
with me, Léo Berne. So I'm co-directing Censor of Dreams, the short film, and I'm in Paris.
Thank you all for joining us during this time. You know, let's start off with Serhat and Laura, talk about The Criminals. We'd love to know what and why this story, what inspired you to tell this story, and what is the sense of urgency of it for you?
It's based on a true story. It's a personal story, actually. It's happened to me when I was at the university. And the idea was in my mind for a long time. Each time when I finish a film, I was thinking about it. Shall I make this film? And how should I tell this story? And I think after 2015, like many changed things in Turkey, and that also affected me to tell that story now, because we, like, not only politically, not only the regime changed, society also changed very fast. I mean, before, at least, it was not as Europe country, but still it was a bit better. It was a like secular country, and now it's totally go another direction. And I wanted to like make a film about the young generation in Turkey, like how they feel these days, how they feel and under operation of society, family, states. And I want to express their reaction against this oppression as well. And this story, it was good for this also. I think that was more or less my start point.
Great, thank you so much. Laura, did you want to say anything in addition?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what was really relevant for this story was the fact that, you know, hotels are highly cinematographic, and I also felt content-wise, you know, to treat about an abusive power with this, you know, this treatment of people wanting to control what happens in a bedroom, in the hotel room, I felt was very powerful also. As a message, yeah, and obviously the mix of genre, you know, social drama and thriller, but I think we'll come to this later, probably in the next question. Right?
Yeah, you know, one thing I thought about when I was watching the film is that it could take place in any country. Actually, I mean, I'm part Indian, and it reminds me of stories that I know that have happened in India or do happen. So it could really take place.
Yeah, I think like Serhat also had people reaching out to him from many places, right? You understand?
Yeah, mostly from India. I got a lot of messages from India, and they said this is exactly happening in our country also.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's definitely a universal story in that sense. Well,
and it happened to us. I mean, on the shoot, we had some similar anecdote happening to us. Basically, like we had a meeting together with Serhat, and he was supposed to pick me up in my hotel room, you know, just knock on my door and say, let's go. And he was never allowed to come to knock on my door. Like I had to go down at the reception desk. Like he could not just come up to my room. So, yeah.
So it was sort of life imitating art.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you both. We'll move on to Your Dead Helen. Michiel, you want to tell us a little bit about why this story and what inspired you to make it?
Yeah, well, it's in a weird way kind of a personal story also, but really in a different way. The idea was I wanted with this film tell a love story that was also a love letter to cinema. And I had those two ideas. One was talking about how painful and terrifying it is to say goodbye to the people you love that were a big part of your life. And the other thing I wanted to try out was blending genre in a very bold and daring way, because that's something that's fascinated me for a long time now. And I think that Korean cinema, for instance, does it incredibly well for many years. And I think that's where the future of cinema, in a way, could be. Like, I think the audience today is educated enough to be able in only one movie to switch from one genre to another in a surprising way without being lost, because they know the codes so well. So it was a great encounter between those two ideas, because here Your Dead Helen is kind of structure on the main stages of grief, and I used the emotional journey of the character to set the blending of genres. So it goes from the denial that brings the rom-com part of the movie, and then the anger that brings more of the horror, and then we have the acceptance, which brings us to the more intimate emotional part of the piece. So that was what I intended to do.
No, absolutely. There's no doubt, like now more than ever, I feel people are really hungry for multi-genres, and even like going from hybrids like documentary into narrative, and just, blending of the genres. You did it really so seamlessly. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And Leo and Raphael are filmmakers for Censor of Dreams. Can you talk about what inspired you to make this film and why?
Sure. So coming from the music video and advertising world, Raphael and I, we wanted to make a step into the fiction world. So we were looking for short stories to adapt. And I found this short story from a Japanese writer called Yasutaka Tsutsui. I was interested by this guy because I'm a fan of anime and mangas, and the anime called Paprika, which is like quite famous for anime fans, was pretty like fascinating, and there was a lot of themes that was interesting. And so I looked for some stories for this guy, and I found this short story called Censor of Dreams. I found the idea pretty interesting, but felt it cannot be a really good short film, so I kept looking for other stories. But the main idea, which is basically a literal explanation, or like a literal incarnation of the Freudian theory of the Censor of Dream, which believe that the process of denial that we have in everyday life also happens during the dreams. So during the dreams, all the memories, all the thoughts, the painful thoughts you don't want to hear about are also hidden and transformed by some sort of censor. And basically this idea was quite interesting. And so I shared the idea with Raphael, and we tried to write it in a more visual way and to interpret this story.
Yeah, and because the short story was really short. Actually, it was 2 pages, 2-3 pages, and actually it was really like could be a bit pedestrian, the way it was told, and so yeah. Through discussion and as we used to work together, brainstorming on ideas and music videos and commercial, we found a way and had many ideas, and we made this story personal in a way, especially around the ending. It's pretty different from the original story. So yeah, actually it was like, even if it was like, could be something like, could be a bad short film, we found a way that we liked, and we think it can make sense as a film, let's say. Yeah.
This was your first narrative collaboration together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love all of I've seen some of your music videos, so it's great to see you pivot into narrative format. And I had some very surreal dreams last night, I have to say. So thinking about your short film must have inspired that. So much about all of these short films by chance deals with genre, you know, like we have thriller, horror, comedy, fantasy, and sometimes the genre line is blurred a little bit, goes from one genre to the next, and sometimes very delicately, like in The Criminals. Serhat, can you talk about, I know you have a background in feature filmmaking, but can you talk a little bit about how you use genre and how that was sort of an engine to tell the story?
After my first feature film, I really wanted to try something different from compared to my previous film, and like kind of I was telling myself, okay, I'm gonna start from zero this time. Like I didn't do anything, and this story, it has potential to play with the genre, and I really wanted to try, wanted to dare. And when I was writing, I mean, the true story is very simple. It's not as in the film. And when I found the idea of the security guard, it's really the atmosphere of the story changed. It became darker, and it could be like a film take place in US also. I mean, if like a couple go to a hotel and if they meet a crazy guy, they just want to, if he wants to disturb them, it can happen. But I didn't want to make just like a fantasy film. At the same time, I want to, it will be also something about Turkey, about the country also. But I didn't want to, it will be just as a statement. And cinematography also, I want to try something. But I mean, I mostly did until now, like social realistic film. I'm very close to the documentary style. In my first feature film, I try a bit like policier without police and without detective. And this time I try, like, for me, the way I look, I was each time not make scare. Like I was saying how I can raise the tension. Like my approach in the old stage was like that. During writing, working with the actors, and the way I pick location and everything, and our visual style also, and in the editing also. But I mean, I was not, to be honest, expecting that people will be scared, but now some people scared, and I'm happy and it works. But as I said, it's like raising tension, my approach, and like sometimes hiding some things, and sometimes showing some things, and introducing the way how you introduced and everything. Like for example, security guard is the balance of the tone of the film for me, and it makes it a bit funny at the same time. Like there is some dark humor also with him, but if it will be too funny, we don't take it seriously. And every stage I was trying to be careful with that, because it was like nice to watching this actor like performing this crazy guy. And yeah, I mean, my approach, it was a bit like that. I hope it's clear story. Clear.
No, it's like I was saying, it's very delicate because it feels like it could go in any second very, very dramatic. Like I was concerned for our female protagonist, like what's gonna happen to her. And yeah, so it definitely was.
I mean, one of the things I mean, when I wanted to make like genre film, I didn't want to make with the surrealist things, like with the realist thing, how it can like a realist, the real situation, and we are worried about the characters and the situation they are in. I mean, with the security guard, it makes a bit like fictive, like a big fiction. And if it goes too much, it will be too much fiction. And when we watch the film, we see as how we watch a horror film. But this film, I mean, after a few experience watching with the audience, and they really forget it's a film, and that makes me very happy.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like I said before, it was a story that I knew of, and I felt very invested in our female protagonist. So really well done.
Thank you.
Michiel, you want to talk a bit? I know you started to talk about genre in Your Dead Helen because it's so much about the story, and does the genre pivots, does drive the story. But maybe you can talk a little bit more in depth about that.
Yeah, definitely. But by the way, I just wanted to say that I saw The Criminals like a few days ago in Paris at the Paris Cours de Vent Festival, and it was really amazing. And like you said, the rising tension throughout the movie is amazing. I just wanted to
And
tell you.
we watch your film in the same festivals, and we also loved it. And
Yeah, we loved it.
we
It's
talk a
really-
lot about your film, and there is some
Yeah.
similarities, and we really love your film as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, maybe we could talk about it later. But yeah, I enjoyed it so much, and your two main actors are so believable and moving. And I was wondering if they were a real couple, because I believed in their innocent love so much. They're so cute, and yeah, and what happens to them is so unfair. It's terrible. But I should talk about my movie. Sorry.
So much.
Like I said earlier, the genre elements were really part of the project from the get-go, but in the meantime, it wasn't something that was forced into it, and it's something that I'm obsessing about without even knowing it. Like, I think my directing style is very different from Serhat's style with The Criminals, and I'm inspired by other kinds of movies, and my thing is be as generous as possible. I'm not so much interested in frightened of not being subtle enough, or I want to be really out there and generous and make it a fun experience, but it always needs to be sincere. So those are the two key words for me: generous and sincere. And as long as it comes from the right place, and if it echoes the emotional journey of the characters and where they are at that particular moment in the story, I think you can go nuts and go very far into the tropes of genre and I like the idea of the contrast in a movie. And I think like a director like Martin McDonagh in movies like Three Billboards does it very well to create a new emotion, I feel, by mixing two opposite emotions. Like there is some scene in a cinema and you're laughing and almost crying at the same time because there's something really absurd or funny that's happening, but in a terrible situation. And it makes the emotions even more impactful, I think, because you're not prepared for it. And I try to use the genre element in my movie to kind of make the audience at ease and make them have fun. And then when the horror happens, they're a bit surprised, and then they're in this horror roller coaster. So then they're like, okay, now it's this, and they're getting comfortable again. And so then when the more emotional part arrives, it's again something they're not prepared for. And I think their shield is down and they're emotionally very open. And so the emotion hits you in a different way. And so yeah, I think as long as it comes from the story and you're true to the characters, I think I don't really think about I don't want particularly when I make a project to make it coherent in tone throughout. I like the idea of being true to the moment, even if it's kind of disruptive of the general feeling of the movie that makes it exciting to me. And again, I talked already about Korean cinema, but I think that they're really great at that. And Bong Joon in particular, he can make, like with Memories of Murder, an intense thriller policier movie, and in the middle of a scene there will be a completely silly moment that's almost like slapstick, and it's true to life. Actually, it blends everything.
Absolutely, because life is not one genre, and your lead actor just sort of like seamlessly takes, because he's so invested in his emotional sort of movement, like what he wants, propelling him is so clear that the genres just blend seamlessly in that way. So bravo.
Cool. Nice to hear that.
Cool. Leo and Raphael, you want to talk a bit? I mean, your film definitely has a very strong genre, but at the same time, there's very strong emotions and emotional arcs of the characters going underneath it. So maybe you want to talk about how does genre help you tell the story you wanted to tell?
Actually, it's funny because it's a bit like Michiel, there is like, Korean films, are an influence for us too. We like the fact that they shift to mix different genres, can go from drama mixed with some humor at some point and absurdity and absurd. And actually in our film, it was, I can't really remember when we were brainstorming, it was totally on purpose, but as it's pretty surreal, it was making sense. And we were talking about dreams, and dreams can turn like nightmares. And actually the whole story that you discover through the film is a drama. So it was mixing the genre was making sense with this story, actually, So naturally we went to this route. Yeah, I don't know if you want to keep going, Leo.
Yeah, maybe what I would say is when we talk about genre, we have to agree on what we are talking about somehow, because genre is somehow a word used to create a box in which we put a film. So there's a horror film, or genre in France even means like B movie somehow. Like when we were working on this film, we never talked about genre. We talked about some reference sometimes, but we never talked about genre. We just felt what is the right tone for a scene, but we didn't think about, okay, the whole scene, or the whole film has to be into this tone, and maybe there is like some changes in the tone of the film, like there is some comedy, but as there is a drama underneath, there is a drama revealed more and more, and then it goes towards something more dramatic. And we had some references, but I'm not sure we would define what we did through genre somehow.
Yeah, but at the very end, we had this moment that looks like we quote definitely like the horror films, at the very end. So it's the way we work. It was more about the tone, but finally, when I see it, I feel, I don't know if it will, I feel there is like something about genre in it, but it's not totally defined. It's not like we are doing like a thriller turning into a horror film, but there is, it's quoting the codes. That's
as you said, it's like more some quotes sometimes, some references to maybe this moment can be a little bit like Kiyoshi Kurosawa movies that we like, especially that scene, but it's more like a quote rather than trying to have like a genre scene somehow,
Did you say a quote?
A quote, yeah.
Yeah.
A quote.
I love that. And you have also some great actors, and some of our audience will probably recognize one of the lead actors from Les Miserables last year. So helping you sort of also pivot into like, what is the emotional arc of the character, but then also what is like, this surreal world that's happening around them.
Yeah, we have a particular structure that's basically the main story happened in a sort of building, an administration that is modeling the dreams of their hosts. And there is the dream part, which is like slightly different, that we treat it differently. But the main part happening in this facility, or like in this administration, we treat it like in a quite not so surreal way. And then some surreal elements arrive. And then there is this dream part in which like we slip into another tone somehow. And so we are more playing with the tones and the references and playing with that than exactly the codes of
Great, thank you guys. So much about short filmmaking, it's like it is Herculean, it's like you're making this short film, but sometimes it feels like you've done the work of a feature film, and there's so much of a time crunch and a budget crunch. Can you guys all talk about, starting with the criminals, about something that, was maybe an obstacle, but maybe worked for you creatively, or something that you were able to utilize in your production experience that helped you tell the story that you wanted to tell?
Yeah, one of the reasons for making short after my first feature, it was because I didn't want to wait another 5 years looking for finance and make another film, and you don't know in the end even if you will be able to complete the finance and make it. That's why after that experience I said, okay, this time I'm going to make a short film, because I want to make very fast, not waiting minimum 3-4 years. And this story and idea, it was perfect for a short film, but it had potential at the same time. You could develop the story and characters, tell as a feature film as well. But the way I wanted to make as a short, and that's why from the beginning I wrote and developed as a short film, and it's because of I don't say the reason, the chance to make a film also affected that. Budget wise also it's not that easy. It was, it's for a short film also, it was a big budget, I think, at least for Turkey. Maybe for France it's a normal, but maybe Laure, she wants to say about something about production.
It was a decent budget for France, and I think for Turkey it was quite good.
Yeah, we can make a feature in Turkey with that.
Sorry? What?
I said in Turkey you can make a feature almost with the same budget.
But I guess to answer your question, Jasmine, it was creatively what I think was very interesting is that we had to combine many hotels to make the hotel, because we didn't find one place that would work. So the main hotel is like pieced together. It's 3 different hotels. So we had to go outside of Istanbul in the greater area for everything that happens at the reception is in the suburban area of Istanbul. We have the corridors is another hotel in the heart of Istanbul. And we had to stay only one night there. So we shot everything there for one night because it was a bit dangerous and dodgy. So we only had one night. Otherwise, we would be, people would know there was a shoot, and we would probably be robbed off the trucks and stuff. So we had to do one night for the corridors and stuff. And then everything that happens in the room is actually was shot in a studio.
I was going to ask you if there was, oh, pardon me.
No, it was more comfortable because there are sex scenes, so that was tricky because in Turkey you cannot, like, we were being asked all the time by the hotel owners where we would shoot. They would be very cautious about the content of the film, and so we had to tame the script to make it soft. And then at the end we were like, okay, let's go to a studio so we can be free. The actors will be comfortable because it's a big thing for them to show a bit of skin. It's not so easy career-wise, etc. So we felt it would be the right choice to be in a studio, and also camera-wise, etc. For for more creativity, we could be more flexible in a studio.
There was a few reasons, not only that. Of course, from beginning, the room will be in studio because you cannot find a cheap hotel, like visually, like looks like in the film, because cheap hotel it's very empty. There is nothing in Turkey. It's like that. There is not paper wall. These kind of things like the texture and the colors, very important for creating the right atmosphere. And it's not possible to find in a real location. And you kind of make something superficial for like capturing or the reality you want to create in the film. And because of the make love scene, it was not already possible to, even if we would find a good hotel, you cannot shoot, because when we were looking for the hotel, even they were very skeptical. They thought we are pretending like we are shooting a normal film, but actually behind it's a porn film. They were skeptical, and there was this kind of weird situation. And after that experience, we take out the old make love scene and we make it really simple. And still they were very skeptical because I don't know if they have experience or why it's like that. And the reason from beginning it was not like combining 3 hotels because it cost a lot and was very difficult because we couldn't find a hotel, and we look a lot, and with the art director we discussed after some research, and I said the reception of this hotel is good, the corridor of that hotel is good, and we are going to build a hotel. And she said she came up with the idea of, I mean, it's in the cinema, there's big example of this kind of things, but for a short film, like combining something like that is not that easy. And the hotel that we shot the corridor, it was a bit like kind of dangerous. It was in an area, I don't know how, like which example, like in Paris there is not that dangerous area, like Barbès a bit, maybe, I don't know. And it was a kind of hotel like abandoned, and we couldn't, I mean, we knew that we cannot go to second day because we changed a lot of things and it will be lost, and you don't know who is living there and who is leaving. But from the first moment I saw that, I didn't want to give up. I really insist, and they tried to change my mind for another hotel. But the texture, and somehow it gave me the feeling it's really the best place for creating that corridor scenes, like that camera movement. And somehow it's hotel itself also, it was a bit like scary, and we came out with this idea like combining all together, and it works. It was not easy, but somehow it works.
So in a way, like the hotel is almost like becomes a character. And when I was watching the film, I felt the tension. As a producer, I was watching and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what are the circumstances that they're experiencing as producers making this film, knowing just a little bit about Turkey.
And also we shot the half of it in Istanbul, but the story takes place in a small city like in Anatolia. But I mean, people from Turkey, they understand it's a small city. We don't know which city, but they understand it's a small city. That's why it's not suburb of Istanbul. It's like a small city very close to Istanbul. It was the closest city, looked like an Anatolia city. That's why we went there. And I mean, the reception also, I wanted reception a bit like have kind of relationship with outside. Otherwise, it's all studio. And because when we are in the reception, we see sometimes car passing, sometimes police passing. And I think this kind of details, make it realistic, and also it makes living the scene. Otherwise, the rooms, studio, and the corridors empty, it looks totally like fictional words. And that's why, for example, I insisted for that reception.
Great. Thank you guys so much for explaining that. Michiel, can you talk a little bit about that, about what worked for you or what didn't work for you? What were your challenges in making this short film? Was there a particular production element that helped you tell the story creatively?
Yeah, we had many challenges in the production of this short because it was quite ambitious, and it was my first produced short, like I said. And yeah, the main challenge was we had 8 days to shoot it, which is quite good, but we had so many different sets. So we had to run all the time and be very quick, which was difficult because the blocking of each scene was very complex, and there were a lot of visual effects and stuff like that. So what really saved us is that I'm really crazy about prep, and I really love it, and I like coming on the set knowing exactly how we're going to make it work. And that being said, one of the other challenge was making this very strictly constructed movie, but giving place for the actors to breathe and improv together. And because that's kind of the blending we were aiming for, was this very technical and engaging movie with a lot of effects, but with something really realistic and simple in the emotions and the reaction between the characters. So it was difficult to hit the perfect tone and the perfect equilibrium for that between the technical aspects and the freedom of the actors. So we worked a lot on that to define the space that they had, the moments they could improvise, the things where they had to be really precise. So that was difficult, but quite fun, and the actors were really having fun working in that space. So that was great. And And so, yeah, a lot of preparation, a lot of pre-visualization, like every scene was pre-shot or drawn or animated and After Effects and stuff like that, so that we could really see what we needed to make it work. And yeah, one scene that we didn't do like I wanted was a subway scene, because at first I wanted to shoot in the real subway, but for the sound we couldn't do it in a running subway because it's such an intimate scene and there is a lot of dialogue. So we wanted to shoot it in the station where they repair the subway trains, and we almost did that, but in the end we could only have it for 2 hours, which was impossible for everything we wanted to do because it's also really a complex and ambitious scene. And so, but it was great because in the end we shot it in the tramway museum. So we shot it in a stopped tramway that was more than 100 years old, and actually it gave a lot of charm to that scene, and it made sense in the visual universe of the movie because even though it's shot mostly in Brussels, the idea was to make it a very universal movie, and I was very particular about it, the movie not being set in a specific time period or in a specific place. And so that kind of made it work. This subway set that doesn't look like Brussels or Paris or anything. So in the end, it was a great plan B.
I appreciated that, like, sort of like the timelessness of it, you know, like your protagonist with like the flip Motorola phone and you know, like popcorn and, you know, like all of that. It was great.
Yeah, it was the art direction we were wanting to go, again paying homage to the movies that inspired the film, and again making it the more universal possible, and be really specific with the emotions, but not necessarily with the time and place.
That's great. Thank you. And Leo and Raphael, if you can also talk about production, and, you know, something interesting that I think I read about your film was how, maybe you can talk about visual effects and like how it was something you actually didn't want to work with, or were making that an actual choice about using production design, and, you know, how that helped tell your story. Or
Yeah, sure. Maybe I start.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
basically, yeah, the budget allowed us to shoot for 4 days in France and 5 days in Ukraine. And actually, we found a really amazing location in Ukraine, so we went for there. So basically, the main of the action is happening in this this place, like this administration. And the challenge here is basically in the story. It's this main room is of the administration is sort of a trial, and the censor and his partner are judging some elements arriving from the mind of their hosts, and they are like changing them and censoring them. And basically, one of the first elements appearing is a swimming pool. So we needed a swimming pool to appear in this big room, which is like quite challenging because this swimming pool is staying for a while in this room, and how can we do that? And so basically, we spent all the money somehow in one wide shot in which we have this swimming pool in CGI, perfectly done by time-based arts, thanks to them. And once the audience bought the presence of the swimming pool, we don't have to show it so much anymore. So it's out of frame, but in the mind of the audience is still there. And sometimes there are like some shots happening in this swimming pool after it's been empty, and some stuff are happening in it. And so for those shots, we shot inside a real swimming pool in a garden, but we just patch all around the swimming pool the same carpet than in the main room. So when we point down, we still believe that we are in the main room. So the challenge was just to match the light. The light has to be the same on this exterior swimming pool and inside the main room.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, like after, like we do some special effect. Most of the time, we do some special effect that are just match cuts and like practical. We try not to use CGI as much as we can.
Yeah, I would add that, you know, yeah, actually, we, you know, because of it's mainly the timing that, constrained us to shoot in not so many places. So yeah, it's actually, we shot almost everything in two, like a house and its surrounding. Even the field at the very end, we brought like a kind of curtain, put some curtain behind to create the blue screen to insert the man petting in it. But actually, it was by the house we shot the rest, all the memories. When they visit the memories, thanks to the torchlight, everything was shot in the same place. And actually, this house, it was not a swimming pool; it was just outside in the garden. So we shot everything there, and the rest was shot in this big administration in the center of Kiev. And just to add like some details about it, it's like it's a kind of a library, old one. And even the moments pause in the middle of the film when Damien Bonnard smokes his cigarette is shot basically straight over the main room actually. So the big bubbles you can see that is on the poster too, it's what you can see on the ceiling of this trial room actually. So it was like we found a way to pack everything to not have to move so much for each chance. Yeah.
How long did you guys shoot for?
So 5 days.
Yeah, 5 days. Yeah, yes, 5 days. I think
And so-
3 and 2. Yeah.
So this was all in Kiev, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Kiev,
4 days happening in this administration place, and 1 day and 1 night like in the
yeah, 1 day, 1 night.
in a house and the swimming pool. Yeah.
Yeah, we finish at 6 a.m. for in the house. Yeah.
It really looks great, but what I love so much about your short is like you do get invested in what the story is. It's not just, the visuals are so great and the atmosphere is so great, but you really are interested to know in what's going on with your female protagonist and her dreams, her story, what happened and the circumstances. And so that's often the challenge sometimes in telling something that's really elevated, but yet you want to feel connected to it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will start with you guys. What is, just in concluding, what is next for you guys as filmmakers, and what's your next step?
I'm planning to writing a feature film. I mean, it's in the early stage. I'm very excited because for the first time I'm writing female protagonist. It will take time for writing and financing. Hopefully in 3 years, we will see the film.
Wonderful. Michiel?
Yeah, I have two feature projects that are on the go, so I'm very excited. One Belgium production feature action thriller that is supposed to be shot this year. So that's gonna happen hopefully very soon. So we're in we're beginning pre-production right now, and also we've been blessed of finding some interest around the short film in the US. So we just signed with TriStar and one of my personal hero who was a great influence on the short, Sam Raimi, who is going to produce it. So for this one, we don't have the script yet. I just wrote a treatment, and right now we are meeting with screenwriters to help me flesh out the feature version of it. But yeah, it was since we finished the short, it was a dream of mine to explore the story again and those characters again in a longer format. And I guess it was kind of a phantasm for me to shoot it in America, because I mean the story is kind of a blend of Evil Dead meets Hannibal. So the idea of being able to shoot maybe this story in a city like New York and make it this big supernatural love story was always something that excited me. So now we hope it's gonna become a reality. So yeah.
That's awesome. We look forward to seeing that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Léo and Raphael, what's next for you guys?
So we are both developing our own short films, keeping the conversation between each other, like discussing about each other projects.
You said short, it's feature.
Yes, feature film. Feature film. Yeah, I just finished writing a feature film that is in a development of looking for financement and all. We started the casting actually this week, and
and me, I'm still like working on my treatment. On mine, fourth version, and actually had a kid last year, so it was like another baby to develop, So it's like, but it's really exciting to work on a feature. Yeah.
A baby and a pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, first day of the pandemic in France, of the lockdown. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I look forward to seeing your feature, what you guys are developing, and all of you are also talented, and I really am wishing you all the best as we find out what happens next. So here's to your shorts, your stories, and your careers. Thank you so much for joining us from all your respective places and sharing your story and talent with us.